So now we're going to move on to the bones of the appendicular skeleton, starting with the shoulder and arm. This is what the clavicle looks like. It kind of looks like a little squiggly line. It has two major ends, the sternal end that connects to the sternum, and then the acromial end that is going to connect to the acromion of the scapula. This is the scapula, and here's the acromion process, so that clavicle would connect directly to it and then connect to the sternum of the body in the front. So looking here, and sorry, this is totally the wrong direction. This would connect this way because this is the center of the body. But anyways, you get the point. So what we have here is, this is where the humerus would kind of come off, and that would form your arm. And then you'd have the two lower arms, and then the hand, and I'm a terrible artist, and so forth. So this is our shoulder blade. And we'd see this in the back of the body. This flat, smooth surface touches our body, and the arm comes off of the side. You need to be able to identify left and right scapula. So the smooth surface faces toward our body. So if you were to turn around and lay down on this screen here, your arm would come off to this side. So now you can kind of tell that this is the left scapula. This is the coracoid process. This is the glenoid fossa, and the glenoid fossa is the place where the head of the humerus sits in to form the shoulder joint. This is the acromion process, and then we have two major angles, the superior angle and the inferior angle. Looking at the back of the scapula, so now we're looking at the right scapula because this ridge goes through the back, and our arm is going to come off from this direction here. So looking at the back, we have the spine of the scapula, and the spine of the scapula leads up to the acromion or acromion process. This is what the humerus looks like, and you should be able to tell left from right humerus. This point points toward the middle, and we know that this is the front side because we can see these ridges and points sticking out toward the front. The humerus at the end kind of curves to the front. Now this part has to point inside because this is going to attach into our shoulder. So this one, if you look at it, attaching from the left side of the body, this is your left humerus. The head of the humerus is the top. And then you have the capitulum, which is this round area, and the trochlea, which is this part here. On the back side of the humerus, at the bottom, you have this little indentation here, and that's known as the olecranon fossa. Some refer to it as the olecranon fossa. In the front part of the humerus, you have an indentation right above the trochlea, and that's known as the coronoid fossa. Then you have epicondyles, medial, and you know it's the medial side because this faces toward the middle of the body, and lateral epicondyles. Now you can see here that was the humerus, which is up here, and now we've got the radius and ulna that attach to the humerus. These make up the arms or the bones of the forearm, and the radius is on the thumb side and the ulna is on the pinky side. What I was taught in school is like radical radius, thumbs up, dude, so the radius is on the thumb side. And your snooty Aunt Elna is going to sip her tea with her pinky up in the air. So ulna has the pinky in the air, it's on the pinky side of the arm. The ulna has this U shape at the top of it, and that's how you can identify it as the ulna, while the radius is shorter and it has this flat plate at the top. The head of the radius is the top of the radius. And then we have a styloid process of the radius. If you were to grab this radius and write with it, like a pen, this point down here at the bottom is what you would probably write with. That's the styloid process. It's the projection that sticks down into the wrist. The ulna has several parts to it as well. So with the ulna, this ridge right here is the coronoid process. Now we just learned about the humerus and the coronoid fossa of the humerus. When we put the ulna in here on the humerus, the ulna actually wraps around here with its U-like structure, and that's going to help form the elbow joint. So the coronoid process of the ulna sits in the coronoid fossa of the humerus. In a similar way, the olecranon process of the humerus is going to sit in the olecranon fossa of the humerus. So the olecranon process of the ulna sits in the olecranon fossa of the humerus. And then we have this trochlear or semilunar notch. We learned about the trochlea when we went through the humerus. So going back to the trochlea here, the trochlea is this region. So when the ulna kind of wraps around here, that ulna has this semilunar notch, or the trochlea, the trochlear notch, that's going to wrap around the trochlea of the humerus. On an exam, the trochlear notch or semilunar notch are both acceptable terms. And then if you were to label the end of the ulna, we actually have the ulna upside down. So the head of the ulna is actually at the bottom of the ulna. Carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges are highlighted here. So carpals are in the wrist, metacarpals go through the palm of the hand, and then phalanges are the fingers. You don't need to know the specific names of all of the phalanges, but there are proximal, intermediate, and distal phalanges on 4 of the fingers, and then just proximal and distal on the thumb.